Hello.
Hello สวัสดีค่ะ
Hello. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Questions for us.
What does out of tune what you say? Tune.
Tune. Out of tune. Tune is sound. So when you're supposed to make a sound like this, like la 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 la, but you say ah la la la, that's out of tune. The tune is the sound that it's supposed to make. So if you play a guitar and it should sound like but instead it's like that's out of tune. Usually tune though is it's not really like a guitar. You do tune the guitar, but when someone says out of tune, it's usually singing, but it's also instrument. This could be guitars as well. And to change the guitar from making the wrong sound to making the right sound is called tuning.
But when people use we say together.
Out of tune, usually singing. You're singing out of tune usually. It could be an idiom maybe like my car is out of tune. They're saying that it's not running right. But 90% of the time tune is for sound, and most of the time being out of tune is an instrument or singing. He sings off tune. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Another question?
No.
Okay, so it's time for another episode of
John painful.
John's
Story.
John's
Painful.
history.
Oh, history.
History lessons. And here he is.
Albert
Einstein. Right. Can show people. Good old Einstein. What do you know about Einstein?
Math. No.
Probably more than me.
I don't know. Someone very smart.
Yes. Do you know where he's from?
I don't. But it's America.
Well, the reason why I'm telling about it is because he lived in America, but he's not American. He's German. And but he came to America and he lived there, and he did a lot of things in the United States because of World War II. So Einstein lived from 1879, and then he died. I didn't write down when he died, but anyway, he was born in 1879. I think he lived until 1950. I'm not sure, but anyway, remember we're learning about American history a little bit. So, what happened first? The quick history.
Oh my God.
People came from Europe, right?
And found some land.
Found some land? They stole some land. Stole some land. Okay. And
from
then,
Indian.
Yes. Native Americans. Indians.
Native American.
Native Americans.
American.
Native means the people who are there first.
Native American and.
Right. And then they got angry at the British, the people from the UK. You won't let you spot Thai. We didn't like their accent. No. Anyway.
It's hard to understand.
So okay, get rid of the British. Okay, then made the United States. There are other countries though in America, right? There's South America, there's Mexico, there's Brazil, there's Argentina. There's lots of countries in South America, but they have different history. I'm only talking about the United States because they don't speak English. So you don't need to learn their history in English. Doesn't make sense. Okay, so Einstein, okay, so then after people came to America, then what?
And kick
the British out.
And made. Oh, I have war. The war American back
Yes, the
together.
Civil War, right? 1860. Before Einstein was born. He was born in 1879, right? So then during the Wild West, actually, was when Einstein was born in Germany. But he wasn't born in the United States. He was born in Germany, right? So then he went to school in Zurich in 1900, and then he became a patent clerk, I think it's called. Remember what patents are? If you make a new idea and you give it to the government and you pay a lot of money, then they say, okay, that's yours. So maybe you patent the airplane or a sword or whatever, and then other people can't copy your idea. So he worked in an office for patents, and people didn't really think he was that smart. He wasn't like a math person or really brilliant or anything. He just worked in a patent office, but he was smart. And he came up with a lot of ideas, and then he asked for some help from other people to do some of the math. So his idea was, for example, one of his ideas, he said, was that if you have a person in an elevator, you know what an elevator is?
Lift, yes.
Yeah, a lift. And it's going up really fast. And you're standing in the elevator, and it's going up really, really fast. And you're pushed down to the elevator down.
Let it down.
Well, it's going up, so you're being pushed down.
Why put down?
Well, like
like apple.
Like if I could pick you up like this, if I put you on my hand like this and I went up, you would feel like you're being pushed down.
Oh, yes.
Because I'm pushing you up. But there's nothing pulling you down, it's just me pushing you up, right? So he was thinking, maybe in the patent office, he was sitting there one day, and he thought, okay, if an elevator goes up really, really fast into space, how do people know if they're on Earth or not? It would have the same feeling, he said. So he said, if you push somebody up really, really quickly like this, and they get pushed down, then how do they know if there's gravity or not? Right? Rang dang dood, right? Gravity?
Dang ding dood.
So how do you know if it's gravity or if you're just being pushed? He said probably there's no difference. Why is this important? Because at that time, people were very confused about gravity. They didn't understand, and I don't understand. Remember, okay, I forgot to say, my history reviews are full of missing dates, confusion, lots of
it's good.
mistaken times and ideas. But anyway, it's just for basic stereotypes so that you can understand the basic things that most people understand. It doesn't need to be correct. It does need to be correct, but it doesn't need to be perfect. If you want to learn about quantum mechanics or theory of relativity, you can search for someone much smarter than me. Anyway, so he said that if you push something up like this, if you put a light, if you have a light bulb, and you put the light right here, and if you push the elevator up, then the light is going to go like this. It's going to go down. It's not going to go straight because you're always moving up. So the light that starts here is going to start to go down. So he said the difference between gravity and being pushed is only that the light should bend, right? So then he did some experiments and with math, and they found also they looked at the sun, and they found that actually light bends in gravity. So because of his idea, people realized that gravity is the same as someone pushing you up. So he said that gravity is not you going down, it's the earth being pushed up against you. And because of that, a lot of things in science were changed. The other idea that he had that I read about is in his theory of relativity. So
What's there?
don't worry. So my notes are a little bit messed up. So that's why. Don't worry. Okay. So then he went to school in Zurich, and then he somehow, maybe lucky or maybe genius or something, he came up with 4 ideas and 4 papers that he wrote about math, right? 1 plus 1, but much more complicated, right? One of them became very, very popular, which is called the theory of relativity.
Theory.
Theory of relativity.
Of
Theory means idea. Law means for sure, right? So if it's a law, that means it's always correct. Theory means maybe it's right, maybe it's not, we don't know yet. So for example, if I ask you, Sibti, can your cat jump over the bed? If you don't know, then you would say, well, my theory is that it can. That means you're just imagining. But if the cat can, then you would say it's a law. Like the cat can do that. Anyway, so he made a paper. He wrote a paper. And I read the paper, but I didn't understand it because it's written in German, translated into English. But I'm going to explain what I understood, which is probably not correct. But I'm going to explain what I understand. So in this paper that became very, very famous, do you know what a paper is?
paper.
If someone writes a
Note.
it's more than that. It's like if you have an idea.
Document.
Yeah, but if you have an idea, like if you have an idea why ghosts are seen or something, and you write about it, that's called a paper. This is also called paper, but a paper means scientific or information that is written. Usually it needs to be well written though. You can't, it's not written like my notes are. You have to write it correct, and you have to have science. Okay, so he wrote 4 papers, and one of them became very, very famous, called the theory of relativity. So theory means not for sure. Relativity means how one thing is related to another. And what he said was that in his paper, he said like this. He said, if you have a train, and the train is going along like this, and a person is sitting in the train like this, and he throws a rock out the window, and he looks down, then the rock is going to go like this. It's going to go straight down for him. But if you are watching the train, and he throws the rock out of the train, then for you the rock's going to go like this. So for you the rock goes like this, but for him the rock goes like this. Which one is right? which one is correct. They're both correct, right? The reason for that is because we say relative. That means it depends on where you are. If you are there, then you see this. If you're here, then you see this. So we also use relativity to describe people's ideas. So if you believe one thing and I believe another thing, some people will say, well, your idea is relative. It depends on what your life is like or the problems that you've had. A lot of times people will ask, what is right and what is wrong? We don't know. People say it's relative. Okay? So he said that what's the difference? The rock drops or the rock goes like this. It depends on where you are. It depends on your relative position. So that's why it's called the theory of relativity.
The theory.
So he wrote these papers and he was not very old. I think he was 26 or younger. I don't remember. I wrote that he became a doctor of, he got a PhD when he was 26. I think that's also the age when he wrote the papers, but I'm not sure. So anyway, the most important one is called the theory of relativity. And it's about what's the difference between the rock this way or this way. Okay, so because of that paper that he wrote about the rocks, in that paper, he wrote the equation E equals mc squared. And everyone knows this equation. Whenever you see people who are smart or on TV and they want to show they're smart, they write E equals mc squared. It's one of the most famous equations in all of the world because it's so simple. It looks so simple, but it has a lot of meaning. So E is energy. M is mass. Do you know what mass is?
Mass A.
Do
1 plus 1.
you know what energy is? Energy.
Energy.
Like power, force.
Energy.
Yeah, energy. Sifty usually says, I have no energy for the show. Okay, but energy equals mass. That means the size of something. Times c is the speed of light. How fast light goes. Squared means times itself. So the speed of light times the speed of light. That's squared. So this equation has become very, very famous now. And because of this equation, a lot of things were created. One of them was, thanks to his help, was the atomic bombs and nuclear energy. Because before this, people didn't understand how atoms worked or what they were. Because of Einstein and because of quantum mechanics, these ideas were simplified, maybe, or understood better. Okay, so in this equation also, because of this, it's called an equation. 1 plus 1 means an equation. This is an equation. Because of this equation, people also thought that it's not possible to go faster than light. How fast light travels. I don't remember, 182,282 miles per second, I think. But I don't know kilometers. Maybe 300,000 I'm not sure. Maybe 300,000 kilometers. No, probably more than that. Anyway, I don't know the kilometers. But because of this, people think that you cannot go faster than the speed of light. So that means that probably, if this is true, then it's not possible for people to go to another planet. Because they're too far away. If it's true that things cannot travel faster than light, then it's going to be a billion years to get to
planet
another star. So this also made people feel like space travel may not be easy. So two things from that. Speed of light and not being able to go faster than the speed of light, and also about gravity and about energy. So this equation says that energy and mass, the size of something, are the same. So if something is very heavy, very strong, then it has a lot of energy. And if something has a lot of energy, then it could also be very heavy, have a lot of mass. Okay. Anyway, if you don't understand, Sipti will explain later. Don't worry.
I don't understand
Okay, so you tell me.
science class
Just basic is all we need. Okay, so you tell me, what is E equals mc squared?
E
No, you don't. Oh, okay, go ahead. Yeah, E stands for
is what you call สูตร 1 plus 1 what you call
equation.
is equation for make energy หรอ
Not to make energy, but what energy is. Yeah, it's mass and energy are the same thing. So I guess I'll try to describe the other part that I don't really understand. So also there's another part that I don't really understand, because I read the theory of relativity, but it's the first part is simple, but the second part is really hard. So in the paper, he said that before him, people thought that you should use infinity. Do you know what infinity is?
I know like egg
Yeah, upside like this, right? Infinity means no end. So in the equations that people used to use before Einstein, they used infinity in their equations. And it worked sometimes and didn't work other times. He said that because of the rock falling from the train, we need something that's always the same to make the equation work. And so he used the speed of light. And because of that, a lot of the problems in science and mathematics were fixed because of his idea that light is the only thing in the universe that always stays the same. Everything else can change. Time can change. Energy maybe can change. Size, distance. But light stays the same. Anyway, so keep going. So energy equals energy equals
M
M equals what? What is M?
mass
Like the size of something, the weight of something, how much it weighs.
Mass.
C is the speed of light.
speed of light
How fast light goes. And then squared. So the speed of light times the speed of light. Like I said, I don't know how fast the speed of light is in kilometers. Maybe 300,000 kilometers per second. But anyway, it takes I think it takes about an hour for light to go to Mars.
What? Oh.
Is it an hour? Is it an hour? No, I don't think it's that far. Maybe 20 minutes? I'm not sure how, but you can see the distance. It takes maybe 2 hours for the light from the sun to get to us. So if it takes 2 hours to go that far, then you imagine it takes 1 billion years to get to another star.
Yeah.
Anyway, so why is this important?
Because it's important for space,
For science.
for science.
Science. Yes.
And sometimes people like to think about how far from Earth to other planet.
No, about gravity.
Gravity.
Yes.
About gravity. แรงโน้มถ่วงเหรอ
Gravity, yeah. Gravity, that's the problems that he solved. So in the theory of relativity, people had trouble understanding what gravity was. And they couldn't make an equation to describe the problems that gravity had. And in the theory of relativity and special relativity, he described how those things could be fixed. So, what's next? Okay, so then after he wrote those papers, he got some help also. So when I was a kid, I didn't know this, but he asked his wife, who was a mathematician. He was a physicist. He wasn't a mathematician. He was a physicist. He asked his wife to help, and also he had a friend who was a very smart mathematician also. His name was Grossman. He asked Grossman and his wife for help doing some of the math equations for that work. I didn't know that when I was a kid. Anyway, so then after he wrote those papers, people said that he was wrong. They said he was stupid. He didn't know what he was talking about. He didn't know anything about math. He asked other people for help. He was stupid. That he was wrong. But over time, people started to try the equations, and they realized that it fixed all of the problems that they had, that they didn't understand. So they said, okay, well, maybe he is right. So then later, he became the icon of smart people. And his hair, right? You remember in Back to the Future, Doc, his hair looks like Einstein.
Yes.
Now, today, if you want to look smart or you want to pretend that somebody's smart, you make their hair look like Einstein.
Afro.
Afro. Yeah. So you make your hair look like Einstein, and then you are smart.
Really?
Yeah. We usually think if someone's hair is like in an afro, that they're smart. They have so much energy in their head that makes their
Like
hair.
short.
Yeah, like shocks. Exactly. So then, after a while, he came to the United States on vacation. And when he came to the United States on vacation, good luck for him, Germany went to war. Germany started World War II. No, sorry, it probably was, it might have been, no, yeah.
American and German better.
Yeah, not just American, German. So we're going to learn about that later. But anyway, so then he came to the United States, and Germany started fighting with other countries in Europe. And in 1933. So when he came to the United States, he didn't want to go back to Germany because he was Jewish.
What Jewish?
Jewish is a religion, right? So you have Christian, Jewish, Muslim, and Buddhism. Jewish is a type of religion and a people, right? So if in Germany, Hitler, the leader of Germany, didn't like Jewish people and killed
Him.
most of them. And Einstein was Jewish. So he couldn't go back to Germany because he might have been killed. So he stayed in the United States. He was already famous at that time, so probably it wasn't as hard for him as other people. So he stayed in the United States, and he wrote a paper, a letter to the president in America, Roosevelt, and he said that there were scientists in Germany like Oppenheimer and Werner Heisenberg, and they were making a nuclear bomb that would destroy the United States. And so he wrote a note to the American president, and he said, you have to be very careful, and you should make your own nuclear weapons program. And because of him, the United States decided to start building nuclear weapons in a program called the Manhattan Project.
Manhattan Project.
Yeah.
Project.
So because of his math and also other German scientists' math, the United States had enough money and resources to build nuclear weapons. So anyway, he stayed in the United States for a long time. After the war, I think he went back to Germany or maybe Zurich. I'm not sure, but he traveled around. I don't remember. I didn't write down when he died. I think it was in 1950 or something like that. So he lived for quite a long time. A lot of German people were very, very smart. So at that time, in 1910, 1920, 1930, there were a lot of German scientists who came to the United States, and one of them was Einstein. The United States has always had very smart people coming to the United States. In the United States, people aren't really that smart, like me. we don't really have any smart people in the United States, but smart people come to the United States. They dream of going to the United States, and so the United States gets a lot of really, really smart people because of that. And Einstein was one of them. He came on vacation and he stayed, and because of that, he helped a lot of American scientists. He taught in schools, so he helped American students become smarter, and so it improves the education of American universities and institutions. Okay, and then that's almost all. I have just a couple other things. So Einstein
Is physics. Well,
yeah, he also math, but he got a doctorate degree in physics. So Einstein now, people keep this name special. You can't name your kid Einstein. It's okay in Back to the Future to name your dog Einstein or your cat, because your cat or your dog, they can't be stupid or smart. But American people are scared that if they name their kid Einstein and they're stupid, that would be really embarrassing.
That'd be joke.
That'd be embarrassing. So we don't name kids Einstein, but you can name dogs or whatever you want. Also, Einstein is his last name, not his first name. So maybe it's not a good first name for people. Anyway, so we call people Einstein if we think that they're smart. So if you say something smart, you're like, wow, we need to use this and this to fix our problem. I say, wow, Einstein, thanks. So we use Einstein now to say someone's smart. It can also mean as a joke. So if you say something stupid, some people will say, thanks, Einstein, and that's a joke that you are actually an idiot. So if you say, hey, John, the light's on, okay, you say it.
Hey John, the light, sun.
The light is
The light is sun.
on.
It's on. The light
Right.
is on.
Thanks, Einstein.
I'm stupid.
That means like, okay, we don't need Einstein to fix or to understand that idea. So he also is famous for saying a lot of quotes. And one of them, he said, is that there's two things in the universe that are always true. One of them is that the universe or space goes on forever, that there's no end. And the second one is that people are always stupid.
You said.
Yeah, but he said,
yeah,
I'm
he
not
said.
sure about the first one. So he said, really, really in the world, there's only one thing that's true, and that's that people are stupid. He was a pacifist, which means he didn't believe in war, and he always would say in all of his comments or things that war was useless and a waste of time.
And
He
you
was known
don't
for that.
believe about karma or God.
I don't know if he was Christian or what, but German people at that, well, he was Jewish, so probably he believed in that religion. One other thing, he had 3 kids. One of them died when they were really, really young, 1 year old. The other one, Edward, became a medical student, and then the third one, Hans Albert, became an engineer at the University of Berkeley in the United States. So most people don't know about his kids, though. So his kids were not as smart as him, right? People think, well, if he's so smart, why aren't the kids smart also? And we never hear about his kids. So some people, they joke and they say things like, well, if Einstein's so smart, why don't we hear about his kids or something like that. Anyway, I think that's good. I think, hopefully. Okay, so you tell us about Einstein.
Einstein is... Einstein.
We can make your hair like this for the show?
No, I think no.
Okay.
I think I like straight.
Does your hair ever look like this in the morning?
No, sometimes.
Oh, okay. Sometime.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Einstein is physics.
Yeah, he was a physicist.
Physics.
Doctor
Doctor
of physics.
of physics and math.
I don't think he went to school for math, but yeah, he understood math, yes.
And he had idea.
Yes, he called them mind experiments. So he would imagine things, and then he would say, well, why is that true? And then those ideas became his theories of relativity and I didn't write down the other ones, but there were 3 other papers that he wrote when he was 26.
Bomb, no, about bomb, right?
About the equation.
Nuclear equation, energy.
Yes, it's called the theory of relativity.
Theory of relativity.
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 Theory of relativity.
Relativity.
Go ahead.
And he had idea about gravity.
Graphics design? Oh, wait, no.
Gravity. No.
Gravity, yes,
Gravity.
that's right.
Gravity. And light.
Yes.
How light move. Moving.
Moves.
Move.
Moves.
Moves.
Travels.
Travel.
Travels.
Travel. And he is German people.
He was a German.
He
was born in Germany.
He born in German. He born on 18
In
1878 9.
Yes, in America that was the Wild West.
After the Wild West 4 years.
Wait 1 second. Theory of relativity.
ทฤษฎีสัมพันธภาพ
Does that make sense? Okay.
Theory
Relativity.
relativity.
It's just relativity.
Or
Relativity.
สัมพันธภาพสัมพันธภาพ Yeah, I think yes. And because in German had war,
Yes.
the war, a war,
Many wars, but
many war.
yes,
Many
but
war.
there was 2 famous ones. Yes.
And he tried to come in America, and
He came on vacation.
he came on vacation.
Yes.
And he didn't go back.
After the war, I think he did go back, but he was in the United States for most of World War II.
And he told the president
Right.
about
Franklin Delano Roosevelt. We say Roosevelt in the United States.
wrote about
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt. Roosevelt.
That's the belt.
Rose.
Rose.
Velt.
Belt.
Yeah, famous American president.
In German had will make nuclear weapon.
Yes, they were trying to build.
They will try
Yes.
to build.
Yeah, they had a
Nuclear.
lot of scientists there that were really, 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 really smart. And Einstein was one of them. But they stayed. They probably weren't Jewish. So he's Jewish. The other ones probably weren't. That's why they didn't leave.
And when he came in America, he
Two.
came to America. He owned a patent.
I don't think he patented anything. He wrote papers.
He wrote papers.
4 very famous papers.
4 very famous papers.
But that was before he came to the United States. When he came to the United States, he was already famous. Yeah, that's probably why they let him stay. Because
He's smart.
if you go to the United States, they're going to be like, nah, let's not let her in. But
Because I can't hear American.
well, but they'll be impressed with your English in a few months. But he was already famous, so that's why probably it was easy for him to stay.
And he be teacher.
He was a professor, yes, of
He
physics.
was professor.
Yes, until after
And-
the war.
Until after the war, and he had 3 kids.
Yes,
And probably he died.
but they weren't smart like him. They were kind of smart, but not as smart. or as famous as he is. He's famous for smart. Everything about smart is Einstein. That's good. The only thing we need a little bit more detail is about the equations that he had. So
equation in นาทีเหรอ
So what are the equations again? Because I didn't really describe them. That's why Sibji needs to clear this up for us.
equation
What were the equations for? What were they called?
for speed light เหรอ of light
Yeah, what was it called? It has a famous name.
I forgot I don't know
I think you wrote it down.
really
Theory.
theory oh I didn't write because it's hard to
Okay, theory of relativity.
theory of relativity
And what was it in Thai? Do you remember?
สมรรถภาพบา
Okay. Anyway, so that was the famous. There was two theories: theory of relativity and the special theory of relativity. And what are they important for?
important for describe explain thing about how like move
No.
or energy
That's true, but there's another one that's more associated with relativity.
Gravity.
Gravity. Yes. All of those ones are true, but usually when you see relativity, it's always gravity. That's what it can be used in a lot of different ways, but E equals mc squared is important for many things, but one of the most important things that it's used for is gravity. Yes. Good. Okay. So
yeah same people think about apple
no, that was Newton. So that was
Newton.
That was
that is Newton.
yeah. That was a long time before Einstein. So he had the first idea of gravity. But his idea of gravity was very, very simple. And when people tried to calculate how the Earth went around the sun or why the moon was orbiting, it didn't work. There were problems in the math. And Einstein solved those problems with this equation. So Newton's theories of gravity work most of the time, but there were problems. One of the problems was the orbit of Mercury. So the planet that's closest to the sun orbits, it doesn't go around perfectly. It kind of goes like this. And people didn't understand why it did that. They couldn't calculate the orbit until this one. Until relativity.
Relativity.
Right. Exactly. Yes. I think you understand as well as me. That's the point of this. Like I said, if you want to actually learn how to do the math calculations, you can watch Sipti's show later. She'll explain how to do the math.
I forgot.
But our show is not about understanding the math. Our show is just to understand what basic people in America imagine Einstein. Because all of these things are always in the news. If you watch American TV, you're going to hear about Einstein. You're going to hear about the Titanic. You're going to hear about the Wright brothers. You're going to hear about all of the other people that we're also going to learn about.
I don't like physics because it's complicated. Complicated. Complicated.
Yeah.
Than
more complicated.
Than math.
Well, it depends on the physics, but yes, it could be, and it depends on the math because 1 + 1 is easy.
Good luck. I can pass though.
Did you do bad in math?
So bad.
Oh
Physics.
no! So they didn't
or...
call you Einstein? They didn't call you Sipti Einstein?
No.
Oh no, okay.
I like to copy my friend. Help me to
Okay.
get 50 in 100 to pass.
50%? You only need 50% to pass?
Yes.
Okay. So you got 51.
Yeah, I was in high school.
Even though you were cheating and you were copying your friend, you still got 51?
Yeah.
That means
Sometimes I had
she's not
to
that
write
smart,
some
right?
suit, one like this, what you call
Equation.
equation on my skin and
On my hand.
yeah, on my hand.
Okay.
And look, when we had to do test,
Take
take
a test.
a test.
Did the teacher ever wonder, like, Sifty, why are you always getting a 50?
No, even I did that. Even though I did that, I still get just 50 or sometimes lower than that, and I had to do extra test.
You had to take an extra test?
Just can get a 1 or 5 คะแนน point
Points.
to pass.
What were you good at in school?
I don't know. Other people think I'm good English, but no, not. And
okay.
before math and biology.
Biology?
Biology very great.
Biology the best. Why didn't you become a biologist?
Because I hate physics.
Oh.
When you want to learn biology, you should smart physics and chemistry also.
Chemistry.
Yeah, and I hate to that.
I was very good at math and very good at science, but I was not good at reading and writing because I'm dyslexic.
What is dyslexic?
And
Writing
so
and reading.
reading and writing. I used to help the teachers with science and math. Sometimes the teacher couldn't figure it out, but I couldn't pass any spelling tests.
That means you genius.
No, some people used to say I was retarded. So I remember when I was in school, it was really hard for me to learn how to read. And in one of our classes, I was in 6th grade, and we had to go to the 1st grade class to teach them how to read. So in the class, there was a kid, and they would sit on your lap, and then we would hold the book like this in front of them. And the kid was like 7 years old, and they would try to read, and then you were supposed to help them. So the older kids, that was me, would help the 1st graders to read. Well, all the other kids were helping their 1st graders, but my 1st grader was helping me.
You.
Yeah, it was hard. I had trouble learning to read until about 7th grade, and then it was okay. But until 7th grade, it was really, really hard, and I did really, really bad. But in math and science, it was fine. I did very, very well. But in reading and writing, it was horrible. I remember we used to have a spelling test on Friday. And on Thursday, the teacher would give us a list of words. So I would go home and I would study. I would study for hours and hours and hours. And then I would go to school on Friday and I would ask my friend, I would say, did you study for the test? And he would say, no. He's like, give me the paper. And then he would get the paper and he would just memorize the words in 1 minute. And he would get a 10. And even though I studied for 4 hours, I would get like 7.
Depend on people.
It's so bad.
Like my friend, one of my friend in
My
friends in high school, he liked physics.
He
liked.
Oh right,
physics.
No goldfish today for Sunday.
Physics subject.
We don't need to say
Physics.
subject. We just say physics.
And
Yeah.
he remember just reality. What?
Relativity.
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 You can write it. Rel.
Tiv.
E.
E
T.
T Y T T T
Relativity.
relativity
Not
real
relativity.
relativity
Relativity.
relativity
Yes. And we say everything is relative. That
everything
means
is relative
everything depends on
relativity
where you are and what you believe.
relativity
So,
and
go ahead, sorry.
just that and he before he 5 or no 10 or 10 minutes before he
Took a test.
took a test and he could top of get top
But I don't understand when you said relativity. He studied relativity
he went before he got test
before he took a test.
before he took a test
The test.
he just remember relativity because for every test physics we had to know every relativity
I don't think you mean relativity. Maybe you mean equation.
what does this mean equation
Equation 1 plus 1 E equals mc squared. That's an equation.
Oh, yeah.
Relativity is the name of
I mean
his equation. You mean
equation
Yeah. Relativity, the theory of relativity is the name of his idea that he made. It's not
Equation.
math. Yeah, equation.
equation
Yeah. Okay. He remembered the equation.
Yeah, and
the
he
equation
can-
is what you write on your hand,
Yes.
not relativity.
but even though
Yeah.
we have no equation
Equation.
equation many people couldn't do well except
him.
yeah
Okay. What is he doing now? Where is he?
definitely became to be farm
He became.
he became to be
Not to be. He
he
became.
became to farm
He became.
he became a farmer
Farmer. That's a waste.
and when he was in university he studied about science farm
Oh, farm science. Agriculture. It's called agriculture. Agriculture.
agriculture
Yeah. Agriculture.
and then he went back home and did farm
Not did farm, but
Make.
worked
worked
on the farm.
on the farm
Yeah. And then you went to school for art, right? You went to university?
oh yes
And why did you choose that? Why didn't you?
because when
Why didn't you go for biology? Why
because
didn't you make your hair messy and go for
because I
math?
had to study chemistry and physics and math and biology together.
Oh, you took all of those.
I should if I want to learn biology in university.
Oh, okay.
I have to.
I would have had to.
I would have had. I
Yes.
would have had to, but I decided. No, because three subjects I don't like. Subjects I don't like.
I
didn't
like it. Would you change it now if you could change, or are you happy?
Change what?
If you could go back, if Einstein made you a time machine.
Sometimes I thought.
I
think. Sometimes.
What would you do differently?
I would.
Yes.
I would be scientist about
Not about. In.
some forest
in the forest?
Like when I was in high school, I had to help my teacher do about.
And you hit him with the stick.
No, we
Oh,
had
no, that was
to
a different one.
check or do everything.
Remember when you hit the teacher with the stick?
That is before.
Oh, that was in
Before.
primary school.
Yeah.
Okay. Why would you want to work in the forest?
Because sometimes we had to find.
There's no discos. There's no clubs.
That's like different right now.
Oh, okay.
Yes, if I will choose something different now.
And what would you do with biology if you went to the forest? You
Find and check what how many types of types of animal or animals or
plants are here.
Plants in
Yes.
that zone.
In that area.
In that
To
area.
protect them or what?
To protect, to make forest good,
Healthy.
Or if sometimes you had to help farm also.
Not farm, but have to help farmers.
Farmers.
Okay. And what about art? What are you going to do with your art degree?
Art degree.
What is the future? What job are you going to do in the future? Where will Sipti be in 10 years? What will Sipti be working on?
With my dream when I was high school, I want to be designer, but I scared of needle.
I
was.
am or was? Still now?
I was. Yes, still now.
Okay.
I am. I am scared of needles, and every designer should.
What about a sewing machine?
Same thing.
You're scared
Yeah,
of a
because
sewing
we
machine?
had to look at it and put.
You're scared that the needle will hit you?
Feel like needle will come and hit my hand.
You're scared that it will get in your eyes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So bad.
Okay. Well, okay, so no designer. What else could you do then?
What else?
What if you just
just
just draw the clothes and then some other person sews them?
Not good, because when you start, you had to do.
You have to.
You have to make pattern by yourself before. If you can't do that, you shouldn't design.
Oh.
Yes.
But you can tell them, you can say, listen, I want to do it, but I'm scared of the needle.
Other people can't help.
So in 10 years, Sipti's going to be doing what?
10 years.
Yeah. Where can people find you working?
Oh, well.
I'll be homeless, probably.
No.
The show
I think
will
no.
be.
Probably.
I'll be homeless.
That is in
What
my
will
future.
Sipti be doing?
I think you saw my future.
No, I'll be under the bridge. What will Sipti be doing in 10 years? Where will Sipti be working?
I think I want to be business girl.
Business owner.
Business owner.
For
Sell
fashion?
something.
For designing?
Design is good.
Well, you already did that, right? Why don't you make a business like you did for the mall? Why don't you help people with designing for their restaurants or their malls, like a consultant?
Other people smarter than me.
Well, many people are smarter than me, right? Everyone in my class was a better speller than me. The first graders were smarter than me, right? You just need to be smart at one thing. You just need to do something well. People also, it's not about the best. You know, when you watch a movie, when you like a movie, it's not because the actors are the best actors in the world. It's not because the scene is the best. It has some energy in it. Maybe E equals mc squared or something, Ken.
I think
Figure it out.
isn't that about transport เนอะ not transport
Transport.
move thing from another country to
Import. That's also called smuggling, though.
smuggling
That's when you hide things and sneak into the country. That's called smuggling. So are you going to smuggle things into the country?
No.
What kind of import are you talking about?
I mean sell these things in this country to another country and sell things from that country to this country. Like in the past when Thailand had to change things from Indian or Chinese.
China. What do you mean exchange things from India and China?
Because in Thailand we don't have
Paper.
No
Pepper. Like hot. Spicy. Okay.
Yes. All things for cooking good
Better than
India is popular.
You mean spices. Okay.
And we wanted to buy that come to in Thailand.
No, we wanted to
Bought.
No.
Bring. Get.
No, the word that we just learned. I told you what your new job will be. Not transport.
Import.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you bring something into your country, it's called import. If you send it out, it's called export. Yeah,
Import from other country and exporting good things in.
What does Thailand export? What could you export?
Thailand export rice.
Mm-hmm.
And
goldfish? Are you going to import goldfish?
Yeah.
No, okay.
I think it's too much.
Enough goldfish. Thailand. Sifty says there's enough goldfish already in
And
Thailand.
old clothes.
Old clothes?
Not old
Dirty
clothes.
old clothes?
No, I mean culture.
Oh, you mean Thai clothes to other countries?
Thai clothes.
But American girls are too fat for those clothes.
Design.
Oh, you mean you want to export your designs to other countries?
Design look like Thai culture to America.
Do you think they'll wear it?
I think I saw many fashion.
Wearing Thai dresses?
Not look like that, but depend on what you creative.
It's all relative.
Relative.
I'm joking. You can say it depends. But I'm just joking that you could say relative.
Good.
So you're going to be a fashion designer in 10 years, making clothing to export
If I can.
from your export company, and you're going to import goldfish.
No.
Oh, okay, but anyway, something like that, right? Fashion designer, what is it? 10 years, what are you going to be? 10 years?
Design.
You walk by, you see John on the bridge, and I say, hey, Sifty, what are you doing now? And you say?
Designer. Business girl.
Not business girl. Business owner. It doesn't matter the gender.
Business owner.
Yeah. What kind of business? Goldfish import?
Import.
Import, export.
Export.
Isn't that what your mom does? Is that why you say that?
Before my mom did that, but right now probably she so stock.
Oh, she invests in the stock market.
For mineral. No, not stock market. I mean, in company. So already. So
Some type of market for stones. Okay. It's not a stock market. It's just a market. Okay.
market.
Good. Okay. Any questions?
No.
Now remember, we learned about Einstein. What's his equation?
What's this equation?
E
Hot.
E
E plus.
equals
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 เท่ากับ
equals
เท่ากับ
E equals
อ๋อ equal คือเท่ากับ what
E equals
อ๋อ e equal mc ยกกำลังสอง
squared
m square
squared
อ๋อ mc squared
yes E equals mc squared
E
right
equal mc
which is
squared.
important for
energy
but the more common one
for gravity
yes energy definitely but usually you'll see examples of
gravity
yes great so if you remember if you don't understand just send Sipti a message on Instagram she will explain all of the details
I think I can't
and
help
you'll be able to get an A on all of your math tests
or F
or no depends on how much you pay her any questions
no
thank you so much
thank
bye
you
bye
ขอบคุณค่ะ